it now? Can you guys
Hello,
tell?
world. I
Hello,
can't see
we should
anything.
be
I'm
live.
straight on my phone.
Let us know in the chat if we're live, because it's not live on my. Oh, Melissa, is that you saying hi?
Yeah, I was saying hi to Amy.
Oh, okay. Hopefully they can hear us now. Oh, yeah, we're live. Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome. We have friends still coming in to join us in the Zoom meeting here. Let me get to the waiting room. Let's see. Casey's here. Oh, and Marianne. Great group. This is
Hello.
great. Yay. Oh, is Marianne in? There she is. And Evelyn should be coming here shortly. So thank you so much for coming in, everybody. And we have 9 in the chat. Thank you. Hey, Kasie.
Hey.
There she is. Kasie and Marianne. Hey, guys. Good. So super excited. I love now that we can schedule this out and I don't have to do the link while we're introducing ourselves, because I feel like I can really listen to what you guys have to say. So let's see. Can you guys introduce yourselves? Let's start. I think my top left is Melissa again.
Oh, hello everyone. I'm Melissa, teacher Melissa, and I have been with VIPKid for 3 years. And so I'm an online coach, and I love to help mentor people as they start their journey with VIPKid. So we're excited you're here.
Great. Danny, you're my next one up.
My name is Danny, almost 2 years with VIPKid. Didn't have level 2 for a whole year, so it's fairly new to me. And yeah.
Do you want to tell them why you didn't have level 2 for so long?
Well, when I first started, they had just introduced the new level 2, and I looked on the Hutong and I saw people saying, oh, I hate it. I want it removed from my certification. So I just said, you know what? I'm not going to get it. And when I got it, it's great. I mean, it's not bad at all. So don't believe everything you read.
Right. Okay, Cindy
Well, it
Bennett.
was just different.
Oh.
It was just different.
Yeah.
Yeah, hello, I'm Cindy Bennett, and I'm coming up on my 2-year anniversary for VIPKid, so I'm excited. And almost 3,000 classes. I'm like gonna cross some milestones, classes, almost to 1,005 Apple reviews. So I'm excited, and I still love this job. And I also have a Facebook iPad group for iPad users. So if you are interested in, knowing how to use an iPad, a lot of times people use it for backup in case your computer, something weird happens. And it has helped me. I do use my computer now, but I have done 1,000 classes with just my iPad. So.
Great. Amanda.
Hello. I'm playing around with computer settings and lighting as we're talking. I'm like, why is my face so dark?
Yeah.
I'm here.
I saw the camera fall or something.
I know, it was my wire. I'm like, what am I doing? I am a professional online teacher, but you can't tell from all my lighting problems today. I'm a Manda teacher. I'm a YouTuber and a blogger. I'm on Etsy, and Teachers Pay Teachers as a seller. I actually have the wonderful pleasure of having taught every level 2 class from beginning to end.
Wow.
with
Wow.
So I taught
Wow.
every single class in order. It was wonderful. So it's good to have that perspective, because I can see where they start and where they end with 2 lovely regulars. So I'm glad to collaborate and share about level 2 today.
Great. Marianne. Awesome. Marianne, can you hear me? Oh, maybe not. Can you guys hear me?
I can, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, Marianne. No? Okay, Kasie.
Hey guys, I'm in my laundry room today.
Nice.
Yeah. My sister, she does a podcast, so she's doing her podcast right now. So yeah, let's see, I have taught all levels, and level 2 is really fun. I'm on my 799th day with VIPKid, so that's pretty cool. And I've taught like over 4,900 classes, so pretty cool. And I have my YouTube channel and podcast, and yeah, I always have different things going on, so
Good.
that's about it. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Marianne, you want to give it a try?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
No,
Okay,
it's fine.
so I'm Marianne Shannon. I'm actually on vacation until Thursday, so it's been really nice. And I'm getting ready to start my I think 6th contract May 1st. And I've taught almost 6,500 classes. I started out in level 2. I was hired for the lower levels. So I know I've taught probably almost every class in level 2, like Amanda. I've had several regulars, and so yeah, but I've changed the way I do things. So, which I think is good. Learned a lot of things and have adjusted my teaching. So I'm happy to collaborate with you ladies.
Great. Well, my name is Kasie Oswald. Welcome to my channel. Super excited you all could make it today. And in the chat, we have 19 people here.
Wow.
Obviously, I know.
I
Obviously,
see
I'm
20.
a YouTuber. You see 20?
I'm one. So
Oh,
I
me
do see 20.
And please check out my website. You'll see, I think everyone on here, with the exception of Marianne, has a link to their YouTube or their Etsy shop. And you can find us on teachingwithkasie.com. I can't take credit. My husband did it all for me. And today we're going to talk level 2. It was a request from Laura. I'm not sure if she's here yet, but if she doesn't make it, she'll check out the playback. She's great. She had asked the question about level 2 and making it more interesting, especially when we have students like transitioning from level 1. The beginning units is what she wanted us to talk about. So we actually have quite a bit we can talk about with level 2. So yeah, let's get started. Anybody want to start with maybe their favorite thing about level 2? Crickets.
I'll start. So my favorite thing, especially with these new level 2s, like Danny was talking about, is there's a lot of room for extension and adapting. Like if your student is really having trouble with that sentence frame, especially later on in level 2, there's some really long sentence frames, then you can focus on that. But if it's really easy for them and they've got that, then you can make it fun. Right? Like if you're talking about eating, you'll be like, do you eat noodles? Do you eat bread? And then you can be like, do you eat dino? And then they'll be like, no. And then you get them laughing, you get them having fun, and you can just kind of adapt the lesson to them that way. So that's my favorite thing.
Good. Cindy Bennett, I think you had an idea.
I was going to say, that's kind of similar to what I was going to say. I like the age because they're happy to learn. They are creative. They like to, that's what I was going to say as far as extension 2 is, if you're not going to stick to the slides, you can do fun things that are totally, different, like the opposite of what you're actually doing. And they laugh at whatever you, like any kind of joke, they laugh at it, and they just enjoy the class and they enjoy you. I had a student I hadn't seen in a while yesterday, and he just stopped every like 5 minutes. I just really like you. You're just such a good teacher. And I was just like, I'm not doing anything unusual, but it was just a blessing. And so I just think that's the age. They just really love people and they love their classes and they like to learn.
Okay, I think it's funny that you all call it the new level 2 because for me, it's the only 2 I know. So for me, this is not new. Level 2 was the hardest for me to teach out of all of the levels when I got started. It just seemed like they were lower level, but not like level 1 where it's like pieces together. It seemed like some were lower level and had these longer sentence frames and things. And, you know, I was terrified when I first got started because I wanted to make sure I did everything on the slide and everything. And of course you learn as you go, but okay, Amanda, Marianne,
I
somebody,
think
what's
my
your favorite?
favorite, I was going to say, my favorite thing is teaching reading. I was a first grade teacher in the brick and mortar classroom, and the power and the wonderfulness of kids actually reading words and being able to read always gives me teacher goosebumps. So
Yeah.
I think my favorite part of level 2 is just kids being able to really recognize words and being able to read. That's always very dear to my heart. I think there's enough content in level 2 that it's not overwhelming. It's just about the right amount for extension if we need to, or simple enough to simple down for those that are really struggling. I like that about it.
Good. Marianne?
Yeah, I was going to say, so I teach mainly lower levels, just started teaching upper levels. So I teach a lot of level 1, and I've had about 5 or 6 students graduate to level 2. And it's so fun I have like twin girls that I teach. I have taught them every class in level 1, and now they're in level 2. And it's so fun because to me, level 2 is like a more grown up level.
Mm-hmm.
And they're learning, yes, like Amanda said, sentences. I'm a reading specialist also. And it's so fun, not only just teaching them the sentences, but to extend and add some adjectives. And especially if you've worked with them for a while, you know what their strengths are and what they can handle. And when their eyes like, oh, I get it. I've seen this before. I mean, it's just so, it makes you feel so good. That they're really understanding English at a different level, because level 1's good. It's a good introduction,
Mm-hmm.
but level 2 is definitely an expansion. So yeah, it is fun. And there's so many fun things to learn, the colors, and, they're learning numbers and just all sorts of new words. So
good. Kasie or Danny? What's your favorite part
yeah,
about
I
level
just
think-
learning.
Yeah, Kasie.
Yeah, it's fun. I like the age group as well. So I know some of you had talked about the age, how a lot of them are like 4 or 5 years old, or even 6. And I had a girl that I taught mostly through level 2, besides maybe during holidays or things like that. But yeah, it was just so fun to watch her grow like all the way through the whole level, and how and I've talked about her name is Amy, and I've talked about her in some of the things, but she was like so smart. And I know we have different students, some that might have a more difficult time grasping it. So, I mean, it's good to know when and where to kind of, break it down more.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you can like build on it and then ask them more questions to extend. So I don't know. I think it's fun and interesting for them.
Good. Okay, Evelyn said she's gonna stay in the chat box today, guys. Her babies need her. Hello, Heidi.
Okay.
Thanks for coming. And Amy Lou is here. She said I teach a ton of level 2, so curious to hear everyone's ideas. Hey, Stephanie, thanks for joining us. Oh, Kelly Tag's in the chat too. Hey, Kelly. Let's see. Live. You are live. Oh, they're telling me when I was live. Oh, I hear somebody. Can somebody turn their YouTube down? I can hear the playback. My big loud voice. Hi, Mindy. Oh, Mindy's here. She said, hello, everyone. Hello, Savannah and Meredith. And, oh, Mary. Hey, Mary. Laura.
I invited Savannah. Hello, Savannah.
Thanks, Savannah. Thanks for coming. Thanks, Danny. Let's see. Did I miss anybody? Okay. Yes, Laura, I think you're the one that asked us to do this. So super excited Laura said the first 3 units, especially unit 2 and unit 3. I printed them out. So she especially wants to talk about learning at school and school phrases, how to make them more interesting and fun. So what do you guys do to make unit 2 and unit 3 more fun? What do you use maybe like for different props or ideas? You think we can, I think we can hone in on unit 2 and unit 3 pretty well. So what do you guys think? I'm gonna pull out some of my props right now. I see Melissa's wheels turning.
This is my Meg Princesses. I used this one today. So I don't know who put these out, but my little girl, I had one reward this morning, and then she showed me a princess castle. I'm like, I'm doing the princesses today. So these are all Meg. So those are kind of cute.
Mm-hmm.
She's dressed up. And, you know, I'll use those because she has different color dresses. So I don't just put it up there. I just say, what color is this dress? And then sometimes they know the princess names. So we'll say, you know, do you know, like the Sophia one, she knew the dress was purple, but she also had stickers. So I try with that level, I try to look at maybe what they have. Maybe if they have a Mickey Mouse on their shirt, I'll grab something Disney-ish. So I try to be somewhat flexible with rewards. I also, for school phrases, I was looking for my backpack. I have like a backpack and it has all the school supplies in it. So I put up like a pencil, an eraser, and depending on the child, some kids can handle more vocabulary. So I will use that for more vocabulary. So depending on the student, like some kids can't handle a lot of extra vocabulary. So I might just say colors. So that's how I do it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Cindy. With any of the lower levels, you can make it fun with your reward. And if the student, I mean, especially like if they're coming from level 1, they know how to say my name is. They know where to say they're from. They, you know, especially that first unit there. So you can really spend a lot of time adapting the lesson to them, you know, through that reward. And what I really like about this is where you start to build that rapport. Right. So if they like princesses and you're throwing up a bunch of Meg princesses on your screen, you know, they're all like, oh, you know, or if they say, you know, they like Elsa. And so I'm like, oh, you like Elsa? Well, oh, my classroom just got really cold, you know, and then I'll throw up and you know, like they just love that. But what that's doing, it's helping me build my business, but it's also helping me build rapport with that student. It's making them want to come back while we have the time, while we're dealing with that really simple language and target sentence.
Good. So some of the props I have, of course, I use Google Slides sometimes also, but I like these. It has lunchroom, and, you know, hallway. This says hall on one side, but I write hallway on the other side. So yeah, Amanda Panda's got them too. And school, so I have those. And I also have the ones that have the markers and the glue and the pencil.
Yeah.
I do really like to use Realia for these. You know,
yeah,
actual
I have different ones. I bought the Kennison's Creations on Teachers Pay Teachers.
Oh, yeah.
And she's got every level, and I just bought it. Actually, I bought it in December, and I just printed it out like a month ago. I finally had time. But anyway, it's cool. She's got all the, you know, the different words and the word under it, which I like.
Yeah.
But what I've learned from the level 2s I've taught, they need that. They need to see, I don't know, I'm a visual learner. Most people are visual learners. And even though you say phone 1,000 times, they're like, you know, they can't remember. But when they see it, it helps. Plus what I try to do, especially if they're a little bit more advanced, I ask them, do you have a phone? I look around like, do you have a phone? And then they usually have their parents, if their parents are nearby. And that way they can associate, oh, yes, I have a phone, not just the phone that you're showing them, whether it's your phone or a picture of a phone, but they can associate what you're saying with something tangible that they actually have. And I think that helps it stick a little bit better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
If they find it around their house, that's always the best. I think something too with phone is I have a conversation with them, like pretend. So when I teach phone, I dial them, hello, Susie. And then I make them talk to me like they're talking on a phone. And we do this for mom and dad. Like we keep the phone concept going. Hello, mom. And then we talk like, mom, clean your room. And then we at the end, we hang up and slam the phone. And they think that's hilarious. And we say bye-bye. And so that actually is carried with me from a level 2 unit 1 all the way into recently we were doing phone with I talked to my parents. So then we were again talking. So it's just something fun that I carry on with my students that comes when I teach phone, just to talk with them. So every time I see a phone, okay, hello Billy, and then we talk, how are you? And so it teaches them conversation, but they think we're playing and having fun. Something else I do is with those rooms we just talked about is a lot of level 2 unit, the early ones are about he and she. And I think that's not very clear to kids because remember in Chinese, in their language, they don't have pronouns for people. So like the concept of a pronoun to replace the name Meg is very, very far off for them to understand. So as extension, every time I teach a room, so if I teach lunchroom, she is in the lunchroom, he is in the lunchroom, and we do that for every single room. So hallway, lunchroom, library, soccer field, whatever it is I'm teaching, I've got all these rooms. And so Meg and Mike as he and she are in all the rooms. And so that's just something that builds an extra time too, because sometimes those classes can go very fast. And so what I want to do is build an extra extension that's something I can carry along as we do all of the unit and lessons. So that room with he and she really works and teaches them. So
what do you guys use for he and she? I use Meg and Mike also. Oh, your little puppets. Yeah, puppets. Yeah.
So I use Meg and Mike. And sometimes I'll use Dino for it, and then sometimes you get, the really smart students and they want to say he and not it, Dino's not an it, it's he. But I try to bring in some other things, a cat or a dog. So they learn that one as well. Yeah.
Good. Marianne.
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry.
I was going to say, one thing I learned the past couple of years is as you teach the higher levels, especially level 3, kids, I have found the students don't really understand the concept of verb very well. I don't think it's I don't think it's talked about much in the lessons. It kind of comes up random. So what I started doing with my level 2s, pretty much all of them. So this is one of the flashcards that was in the Kennison creation. So it has the verb and then it conjugates it. So I take the time to go over it if it's in the lesson. And we say it first. I have this I have a pointer thing. And I say it, then they repeat unless they can do it by themselves. But then we go back and I'll say, I click or whatever. I want them to do the motions with me. You click. He clicks. Like I'll hold up he clicks, she clicks. And hopefully that makes an impression, that they remember he, she, and it. Because like Amanda said, they don't have those pronouns and it's very difficult for them. But I just feel like the verbs aren't stressed enough. So even though they don't know what a verb is, hopefully by hearing it, eventually it will register. So
good. Let's see. Amanda, what are your best tips for helping students transitioning into level 2 as far as reading? It's a great question, Savannah.
Yeah, here's my best tip. Unfortunately, you're going to have to write on the whiteboard a lot. So as they're coming from level 1 into level 2, kids don't always recognize one-to-one correspondence of words and reading, because in level 1, it's all about repeating. In level 2, we're all about the reading. So what I do is I make a point of writing on my whiteboard and I point to the letters and we read. I do that more in level 2 units 1 and 2 than any other class I ever teach. I swear I am just writing sentences like a bandit. So almost every sentence frame I write and point, because it really teaches them those words. And then something for rewards that I do, the high frequency words. I have a fun reward where I write the high frequency word on the Meg, or like that in stars, like on Meg with the dress. So if I reward Meg with the dress, it will say the word for on here. And so when I reward, I'm practicing with them those high frequency words, because there are some in level 2, the lower levels, that just don't get the high frequency. And I bet you they're not practicing. They're only taking my class and it's just not enough. So every time I reward, I'm going to pop up Meg and she's got a dress and it's going to have for and you and the and I for all those first classes. So that every time I reward, we're practicing those high frequency words. Actually, I saw a really smart teacher. She had a flower, one of those flowers from the store that's like what is that spins? What is that called?
A windmill?
I have one of those.
Windmill.
And she wrote each of the high frequency words on the little spinner. And so for the reward, she'd flip the little spinner and read the words for the reward. And I thought that was brilliant. So she just wipes off. I don't know how she made it dry erase little spinner, but she wrote the words and she'd spin and read.
That's a good idea.
And then practice. So that would be the reward. And so they're reading and getting a reward at the same time. I didn't do it, but it's wonderful.
Because it's spinning, so.
Yes, I think it's fun because they're playing, but they're really actually reading the words. So spin, hold, read. Spin, hold, read. So, I mean, goodness, what great practice for reading words we're getting. So that's how I push the words to get parents to, or get kids to practice. And then I write in my feedback the words that we're practicing. Really in my feedback, that's the only time where I'm writing all of those high frequency words, especially if they're struggling, because they've got to get the and, because we're about to read soon and like 12 more lessons. And oh my goodness, you're going to be behind. So so it's really, I encourage strongly reading and starting very early, that first unit.
Good. And Marianne, I know you're another reading specialist. Do you have any other tips for students transitioning into level 2 as far as reading?
Well, the one thing I've noticed is some of the students have a difficulty because they're learning the letters in level 1. And so one of the first couple of lessons, they talk about these are letters, these are numbers. So when they see the alphabet, they're like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, because that's what they've been trained to do in level 1. And so, I mean, one thing I did was to help, like, I made these little things. One is letters, one is numbers. I mean,
oh, nice.
I just did it today. It's a cookie sheet, so the magnets stick to it. So I just did it today for the lesson.
I've noticed several have had trouble transitioning to that, and they get them mixed up. So I try to show it as much as possible, and then eventually you can see, like, okay, they got it. But until they, not until, but it's just so confusing for them, you know? And so that's one of the first things I try to stress, is that to differentiate the letters and numbers. And also, if I have time, a lot of the students know the letters in order. They can say it A, B, C, D, E, F, G. But then if you show them a letter, they're like, they don't know, out of order. So I do put that in feedback. If the parents can, if they have flashcards, practice out of order. I'll show them random, what letter is this? Especially when we're working on letters and numbers. And that's another thing I've noticed that kids struggle with. And that's important, obviously, to know the letters, because then you're getting into letter sounds, and you see some of them, they're just like, they're so confused, you know? So I don't know, that's one thing I try to focus on. And if you've worked with the level 1 students and they're transitioning to level 2, I try to start working on that more at the end of level 1, because usually by the end of level 1, some of these kids are so bored and they're getting done with the lesson in like 18 minutes or, so it's a good time to, I would look ahead to level 2, what's coming up, and you can use your time to extend that way. So
that's a great tip. Love it. I think I saw Melissa had a whiteboard ready. Melissa, I
Oh,
think I
well,
interrupted.
So going with the like reading, so sometimes I will do this, like in that school lesson we teach them, yes, I sit on a desk, at school or whatever. So I'll show it, yes, I sit on a desk, and then like maybe I'll erase a word, and then I'll ask that question again, and then they have to fill it in, and then the next time I'll erase another word, and so that way they get a feeling of accomplishment, like they're doing it themselves, and you're just giving them like gradual baby steps. So that's just a tip that I do for reading.
Great. Cindy?
I was just going to say, I use my whiteboard, or I even use the blank slide a lot to write out the high frequency words. So I think the parents really like that. Like, I don't know, I guess I get more advanced student. I have not had any students that get letters and numbers mixed up. I don't think I've had any, because maybe I get older ones for that level. Maybe it is with the younger ones, but usually the kids that I've gotten, like I have one girl she's still level 1, but she is like so smart. She can write her name. She can write all the letters. Like, she's amazing. So at the end, I do have extra time. So I will write out, and depending on their level, like for her, I will do the letters in the lesson. I will write out the keywords. I'll make sure I know what the keywords are, and we'll write those at the end. I might have them write their name, any other words, and I use that. I try not to linger too much just playing, so that I do have time at the end to do, extension and reinforcement, not just play tic-tac-toe. I try to use that as a time to reinforce everything. And I think that really helps. And that way you don't really have to think of extra stuff to do if you're planning on using that time to do some writing skills and spelling.
Good.
Yeah, I was going to say writing is one of the components that in our curriculum is not there. So for me, I always am writing with my students and encouraging them to write. We're learning letter formation. So that blank slide, I often switch to the blank slide, and then I remember the slide number I'm on, and then I swap back for lots of different activities. So a little bit later in level 2, as kids are getting the reading where it's all the consonant, vowel, consonant words, I often use the last slide and my whiteboard to write with them. And if they're a higher level kid, like Cindy was saying, I would have them actually create a sentence using the word. So if like the word was mat, I would have them think of a sentence if they had those English skills, and some kids can, and then I would write the sentence, the boy has a mat, and they would write on the white blank slide, and then we'd flip back. So it's just a way to kind of extend the time. And then a lot of the last slide is good for drawing too. So I'll have the kid draw a phone, draw a tablet. If you ignite another part of their brain to help them remember the vocabulary words, it's always a great idea. And you get some hilarious pictures.
Oh yeah, and some nice pictures too. Yeah.
So
some amazing
fun.
Pictures.
I draw a line down the center, and they draw on one side and I draw on the other side. And we just have a fun time, but we are not wasting class time because we're doing vocabulary. Usually I have them write the word if they're able to, or I write the word. So it's again using their class time to ignite that knowledge of a part of their brain to help them remember that vocabulary, because come on, computer and phone and tablet are not the easiest words to remember when you're small. So
good. Danny?
But if they love tic-tac-toe, this is how I include tic-tac-toe.
Yes.
I have some words and some animals, and they'll do all the animals first, but then they're going to have to do, a word. So that is a way to play and integrate at the end.
Yes.
Great. Good idea. Yeah, Marianne.
Oh, sorry. I always say sorry. Sorry.
I do too, Marianne. We've had this conversation.
what I was going to say, one thing I do, and some of the students mirror it, if they're having trouble with sentences, I use my fingers a lot. Like, this is a phone. This is a computer. So if they know that there are only 4 words, and if they go, this is computer, and I'm like, and as they're saying it, so here's what I do. I'll say, this, thank you, Amanda. Thumbs up from Amanda Panda. I'll say, this is a phone, and then I want them to repeat, and if they go, this is phone, and I'm like, uh-oh. And so then they, maybe know that they've missed a word or whatever. And I'll say it again. This is a phone. And, and then you get this is a phone, and kind of over exaggerate, but it helps. And I think seeing that, I don't tell them that these are words, I don't do all that. I don't say it, I just do it. And then the kids start doing it, and it helps to make that connection. And so I've been doing that a lot more, and I think it helps some of the students.
Good. Little tip, don't have your hand this way. I had my hand this way before, and I'm like, wait, they can't see it. Yeah.
I've seen some teachers do this, and I've always done this because I'm not sure they can see it when you're down here.
That's how I started, was down here, and that's why I'm like, wait a minute.
Right. Yeah. So.
That's my little 2 cents. I should tell everybody in the chat that when I'm looking to the side, this is all of you guys. I'm reading your comments, so don't think I'm ignoring my friends on the screen here. Okay. Laura said, I'm not sure if we've already hit this. Let's see. I have had 2 students come from level 1 and transitioned so well. However, I have 2 students who are new to me and have a hard time having fun with the units. So hopefully we've given her tips, because that was a little while ago.
Well, I think that with the level 2, we talked about it before, where level 1 is a lot of singing and a lot of fun things. And then level 2, I've seen some kids, they're like, oh, okay. But then they're okay with learning. Like, I think the kids grow up, like they seem to grow into new phases. They expect it. And so my kids have transitioned fairly well, but at the very beginning, they're like, where's all the songs and where's, so I do try to make it a little bit fun for that first transition a little bit. And it's just a growing time for them. They realize that all those little fun little things are not there.
And you can sing. Like, I mean, sometimes I sing. This is a letter, like, you don't have to have that music. Like, you sing and then cup your ear and they're going to sing back. I mean, especially if that's what they're used to.
Yeah.
And you just want to be really positive. You want to be having a lot of fun.
Right.
You ask them, what is this? And they say the letter B. Well, they're right. And that's what they learned all throughout like level 1. So you'll be like, oh, good job. Is it a letter or a number? So you're just kind of jogging their memory that you want to hear, this is a letter, like just kind of bring those in to level 2, the singing and the fun.
So to prepare for this, I specifically went to the level 2 workshop today and asked the question, how do we make it more interesting? And she said exactly that. I wrote it down, but she said, level 1 is filled with props and songs, and a lot of it's embedded in. This is just, you have to be more creative and use your props differently and just make it more fun that way.
Yeah, so it's prop heavy. Like, so if you're teaching, this is a tablet, like I try to use my tablet for that reward system. So they see it, we're talking about a tablet, we're using a tablet, but we're having fun, right? Because we're building a crayon box or a princess seat or whatever is on that tablet. So prop heavy, but also, make that prop fun, make that prop talk, or make it useful with the reward or something like that.
Good.
I was going to add too, I think the most powerful learning is when kids are playing. And so I actually, if you watched my classes in playback in level 2, I spend a ton of time on the reward slide. I don't use it as a reward, but it's actually a time to give my warm up and play with the kids. So for example, the one where we build the house and it's all different colors,
Mhm.
or the flower that is different colors, I teach them sentences that go along with all those colors. And if they can handle petal or stem, I'm teaching them many more words, because for higher level kids, that color unit, they know all the colors. They
Yeah.
learned that in their kindergarten 2 or 3 years before. They're like, Teacher Amanda, I know purple. Like, come on, teacher.
Mhm.
So what I'm doing is building a house with them. So then we crash the house and knock it down. Then we build the walls different colors, or I ask them, what color house would you want to have? So that reward slide is almost like 5 minutes of my lesson, which like rocks people's world sometimes, but it works for me because
Yeah.
that they're playing. When they're playing and learning, that is so powerful. So
Mhm.
think of ways to use that reward slide in a way that's not just a reward. Even the animals on the farm, my goodness, the animals on the farm, they go on the barn, they go on
Yep.
the rhino's
Yeah.
head, they
Oh
go on
yeah.
Meg's head. I mean, there are so many things that are fun. Once you play with them, I think
Mhm.
that brings their interest into the class. I shared this last time for the level 1, but this is for my boy. I only do Transformers for one kid. This is for little Peter. He loves toys and he loves Transformers. So he comes back to my class and is my regular student in level 2, and he's on the board side. He's on the done side. But when we are having fun with Transformers, his eyes are just on the camera and he's in the class with me because he can't wait till see what Transformer I've got next. And so
Mhm.
these
Mhm.
Transformers play. I do all kinds of things. So find something kids likes, and that really draws them in. That's also, if you have low bookings, how you get rebookings for kids to come back to you.
Yeah.
If you
Mm.
ask my students what they think about me, they will say I am funny and fun. So it's because they come to my class and I'm not the blah blah, let's read, no, I sit on my desk kind of teacher, because my goodness, my desk is my whiteboard. Here's my desk, and Meg's going to sit on the desk. So, like, funny, crazy things happen in my class, and that keeps them coming back again. And I play with them. Play and fun and learning is the best.
Good, good. Laura said she tried using AR stickers, but they seem distracting.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? I use them during the reward. I stick them on their heads during the reward a lot of times, but
I think it depends on the student. Like, I mean, I have, one student who every day she wants to know what she's going to be, right? And so I'll give her
Oh,
like 3 options,
cute.
and then she's that thing, all the way through. And I've had to learn not to give her options of something where like it's feeding her that piece of cake,
yeah.
because she'll stop in the sentence and eat that cake and then keep going. But, that one student wants them the whole class. Some students, they want them, intermittently. But then today, like I said, I taught a new student, and we were talking about colors and cats, and I made her be a cat, and she started doing this all of a sudden, so, well, she doesn't like that, so I took them away and made a note like Lemon doesn't like AR stickers, so I think it just depends on your student.
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree. And you have to know, I have a level 1 who just does not like them. I try to put him on him and he ducks his head every time. So it's like, okay, I get it. I mean, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. One student I have, she's level 3 now. I taught her most of level 2. And she's very, I presented some rewards and she'll say, no, thank you. And I'm like, well, then nothing.
Nothing.
Wow.
She's
easy. Easy.
Well, she was like, it was almost kind of like insulting because you have something ready. But then I learned she likes sparkly stuff. She's a girly girl, right? So when we did the level 2 lesson with when they talk about art and whatever, I had this paintbrush, and she loves the AR stickers, but only certain ones. So I pretend I'm painting her, and I'm like, "You're a
nice.
butterfly," and then I click on the butterfly, and then it's like, "You're a princess," but it looks like I'm painting, and that way it helps kind of reiterate that word. And she has some fun because she really lights up when she sees the AR stickers, but only certain ones. So that's like Melissa said, it's definitely individual, and if the students like them and if it's not too distracting. So
I had a student that demanded them. She demanded that I find this certain ones, and I didn't know all the stickers. I didn't know which one was which, and she was just, no, I want this. And then I had to learn first we do this slide and then you get this. So I had to use first, then with her. And I still do use first, then with her. So if you have a student that can understand first, then maybe we first finish this, then you get this. I mean, different kids will get it, you know, at different stages, but I find especially for some of my quick little boys that want right away, or they want to read really quick. Oh, first we read this correctly, then we move on, or whatever they're looking for at the time.
I was going to say too, I agree with Amanda about the reward slide. When I first started with VIPKid, I used to kind of like they did it or whatever, or I'd kind of gloss over it. And then I learned to use it as a learning opportunity.
Yeah.
So for the one with the house, where that has the different colors, my more advanced students, they learned the word roof and window and chimney. And that way, when they move on to, you know, apartment or, you know, they're like, there's a window. And it's so cool that because you're teaching them vocabulary. It's not, I don't think some of it's not even in any of the levels, at least the lower levels.
Yeah.
And they're not bored. Because I mean, like you said, by the time you get to the colors level, that's pretty basic for a lot of them. They know their colors and then some. So it's good to add on. So
and
yeah,
colors
the
are
slide can be very beneficial. Sorry.
No, and colors are an 8.
I know.
It's unit 8. So yeah.
They're all bored by colors. That's when you're asking those wrong questions, right? Is this blue? No. Is this orange? No. I mean, like you've got to do something in that colors. Yeah.
Danny?
Oh, I have a statement. Am I muted? Okay.
Nope.
I have a statement and a question. So what I'm feeling from you guys and what I'm realizing is that you want to be visually interesting. You don't just want to be a face on the screen. So, you know, whiteboard, props, like keeping their interest in level 2 is huge. So, you know, never just your face underlining, you know, so I really use my whiteboard a lot too. Question. How do you transition from one slide to the next when they are either doing that, you know, that reward slide, they don't want to stop, or they're drawing a picture and you're like, what do you do?
I give them a countdown. Ready, and 3, 2, 1, all done. And since level 1, I've done it with all of them. So for me, they just know when I start counting, it's done. I mean, it takes a few times, but now anytime I start counting. Yeah. Anybody else? Sorry, I jumped right in.
I like your sound effects, Kasie. That was pretty awesome. Your sound effects are great. I mean, I do something similar. I'm just like, oh, okay, great job. Let's go. And I'm just going to click, you know, and hope that they don't start crying or throwing a fit, you know, if they're like 6.
Say, okay, bye-bye. And just sometimes go. The countdown is good though, because it gives them,
less shocking.
They know that it's going to be changing, but you're not making it so abrupt.
Right. I had to do that with my son when he was little. We couldn't just transition. Everything had to be timed. He had to know it was coming. So I think that's where I kind of learned to do that. Amanda.
And I was going to say, sometimes it's okay to go back. If they want to go back and do something on the slide again, like, hello, that's the best 1 minute of their class time because they get to do what they really want to do. If they want to do Meg and put the cow on Meg's head again, or build the house again, or the petals, like I go back and do that again with reward slide or whatever activity on the slide. So like, if they're asking to go back, show me, what is it you want to go back to? And I encourage them to tell me and speak whatever sentence frame or what we're learning again. So I think it's okay. There's a fine balance in that. If your time is ticking, oh my goodness, then of course you got to push to go ahead. But there are really some slides that you can do in like 30 seconds. And there are some slides that you could spend, like for me, the reward slide, 5 minutes. So everything will be very variable depending on your style and how you teach. But don't be afraid to go back. Like they're engaged and they want to go back, go for it.
It's also a good time to teach them. Go back, please. You know, you could teach them a sentence instead of them just pointing or grunting. It's a good time to teach them how to ask nicely.
Yes, or erase, like erase the slide. I teach them to say, teacher, please erase. So if they want to clear, like they made a mistake, I'll teach them to tell me, teacher, please erase. So again, we're just building that language of their skills and their toolbox so that they can kind of put that with them in future levels as they go along. So that would be great to be able to tell your teacher, please erase. Absolutely.
Wow. See, I'm impressed. I taught them to say erase, but I'm now going to work on teaching them to say teacher, please erase.
Good. I'm going to catch up in the chat really quick because we are way behind. We have a question for Cindy. This is going back to what we talked about a little while ago. Cindy, do you have an actual backpack or a 2D one? Getting some actual Realia supplies at back to school time would be a great idea.
Oh, I found it. I stuck my hand right on it. I actually have this. I put all my rewards in these bags, and I have I printed these off, probably the reward thing. I have a black one and a red one, and I'll give them a choice of what they want. Do you want the black backpack or the red backpack? Usually they say red. And then I have a bunch of different things. Oh yeah, I do have that one too. But I also have different things where I could give them choices depending on their level, give them choices of what they want to put in it. And then I also have like a goldfish and a baby, so, or you could do there's a picture of stinky socks, so you could also put some funny things in there too. So that makes it fun. But yeah, this is my bet. And I will do this for a couple times during the unit. I don't do it for every single lesson for the same kid, but I will do it a couple times to kind of reinforce the different names for everything.
I like that. And those props you can find easy at the dollar store too, or print them from somewhere. I think that's a great prop, Cindy. Let's see. Mary said, when teaching the different classes, we play instruments for music class, draw pictures for art class, do simple math. When teaching about math class, that's the books, right? When you move the books.
Yeah.
At the beginning. Let's see. Thumbs up. Oh, thanks everybody. Let's see. We have 23 in the chat. Can we get to 15 thumbs up? What's that?
I was just going to say, talking about TPR, I learned from Shannon Mabry about TPR, that TPR is not just us doing it, it's actually the kids doing it.
Yes.
Something to say in level 2 is that level 2 kids are very, very willing to do TPR.
Yes.
So when I teach the consonant vowel consonant blendings, we say k, at, cat. And I have a little boy that does that with me consistently, and I really think that helps him to really put those sounds together. He's been with me for 3 units, and gosh, his hands are still doing that. Ag, bag. So, and he does it too. So really in level 2, kids aren't very shy or unsure about using their hands in TPR. That TPR is them. Total physical response is kids doing it, not us doing it. And Shannon's the queen of that. So I'm sharing her message.
Yes.
You've got to use your hands and encourage the kids to do it too. So that tall and short, long, longer, longest, it's all done with their hands. So I teach it and then we put our hands to it. So very important.
Very good. Yes, she would love that. Her and I have been messaging about TPR. Yeah, because I talked about doing a video and I'm like, you need to check it because she is very much of, it is not the teacher. And
I use this, I have this, so use hands.
Yeah. Her workshop is great. If you get a chance to go to her workshop, she is very straight to the point about the TPR and the research behind it. It's great. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, thank you guys. Let's see. Robert said conversations on the phone work so well. They think it's funny. Cute ideas for the phone. Love the ideas. See, I told you guys I'm way behind on the chat. So, Amanda Panda, do you have the rooms for sale on your Etsy shop?
No, but they're coming soon.
You've been working on level 2 stuff, right?
I've been working on level 2 stuff. So I've done level 2 units 9, 10, 11. I'm going to 12 and I'm packaging a full set. They come in this little zipper envelope shipped to you. So I'm working on other levels too. But yes, the rooms will be coming. And in lower levels, I really think you got to have the rooms. But for the upper levels, I made little popsicle stick props. and I don't have one in my hand to show. But yes, definitely a Manda Panda teacher on Etsy. You can buy a whole kit from me for those levels, and I'm working on all the levels for 2.
Good. Let's see. I actually teach my level 1s not to prepare them for level 2. Maybe I read that wrong. I had a, oh, why did I not think of this before moment 2 days ago.
Yeah.
From now on, I will always say to level 1 and level 2, letter A, letter B, big letter B, number 1. Amy Lou, I've started using Nanny Cam and am using that as my whiteboard. I can point to each word and letter. The kids have been doing really well with it. Do you do that, Melissa, too?
I do.
Yeah.
They can see it. You can make it, big, and I do. But I also I love these VIPKid whiteboards. So definitely.
I do. Do you see? Can you see below my view here?
Yeah.
I do this on Nanny Cam. So I'll actually type the sentence frame. So again, I'll use the whiteboard, but I use this too. I'll use the chat box. You got to vary what you use.
Yeah.
So this is called the text on Nanny Cam. And so I'll type, this is hello Amy from my last class, but I'll type a little greeting opening. And then as we're learning the vocabulary, like architecture, when I'm teaching level 4 or whatever word, I'll type it here so the kid can see it. And then I'll point and read the sentence. This is my cat. This is my dad. So again, it's right on the screen where the kids' eyes are, which is so powerful.
Yeah. So, I do that too. Exactly. And I'll make it big. I'm half of the screen and they're half of the screen, but it's drawing their attention. And like Amanda said, it's something different. Yeah. Sometimes you're holding up this whiteboard, but sometimes that's hard to see, or sometimes they just get bored. So you pop up their favorite color and start writing on that. It kind of draws their attention back to you, back to what you're doing in the lesson. Yeah.
I haven't tried Nanny Cam yet. Let's see. Mary said, how do you adapt to the level 2 student who is just beginning to blend CVC words in unit 9? This student has already repeated units 4 through 7 and is now continuing. CVC, I would say a lot of whiteboard work, or, if you've been doing whiteboard and you want to switch it up, the magnetic letters, or what do you guys think?
I have a little boy that's really struggling with that, and he's the one that I do that TPR with. So what I wrote in his teacher to teacher notes is the teacher that teaches other classes with him is really to spend more time in that section with extra practice for him, because what he does is he blends and he adds other sounds in as he's blending. So even though I do at, he's doing cat, and other funny sounds are coming out. So I think if you look at his age, so how old he is developmentally, some of those sounds are sounds that our kids don't have yet. Even our English speaking American kids don't have sounds that are like that. So his mom's messaged me, I'm so worried he can't blend, what's going on? And I know he's one where the mom works with him and they do a lot of extra practice. She used to sit side by side, and now she's at work and I have class and he does it. So, but I think it's just lots of practice. So for that kid, I would actually make the reward consonant vowel consonant blending practice. So as we do the reward and I give a star, I'll be like, let's read these words: cat, mat, hat, fat, sat. And we will do that 10 times in the lesson so that we're really building that skill and practicing. So that's what I would do. Because remember, you're only 25 minutes with them. There's not much you can do, but all extra practice is always a recipe.
And rhyming is good because usually you can, again, like she said, find that word that they know, right? Maybe they don't know mat and hat, but they know cat. And so you can kind of help them put that sound together. Cat, mat, hat. I like that idea. Sorry, Marianne.
Marianne?
Oh, no. I was going to say, so what I do what Amanda does, let's say you're doing the at word family, you're like, at, mat, at, cat. But if you need to focus on each letter, then I do it this way, like at, and slower, because what I've noticed some of the kids do is they'll go
ma.
Well, yeah. I know, right, Kasie?
Sorry, soapbox.
And I do stress that. I will take the time, and that's probably their least, I wouldn't say their least favorite. The kids try to rush through it. You click on it, they're like, at, pat, because they think they're like, I got this. I'm going to show the teacher that I got this. And they're like, oh, and I do a lot of facial expressions. That's one of the things I get from parents and the mentor. And that's one of my, I guess, tags.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh. And then they look at me and I'm like, oh, but I don't want to hurt their feelings. I don't want to be like, no.
Yeah.
But I just make faces and then to kind of make them laugh, hopefully. And then, but what some of them do also is they stretch. They're like, ah. So I'll write A across like 7 A's. Matt. And so, because some of them, you know how they stretch the letters.
Yeah.
So I try different ways, and that the older kids kind of have fun with that. But you have to like, I don't know. So because I do teach a couple of 9-year-olds that are in level 2, and they're probably embarrassed to be in there, possibly because maybe their friends are in, level 3 or 4 or whatever. And so I try to be sensitive to their age. And so anyway, I do if I'm working on single letters, I'd use my fingers. But if I'm doing the word family, I'll use my hands. But anyway, if I see them rush through it, that's usually when a lot of mistakes happen. So
yeah.
Cindy, yeah.
One of the things that is, now that you're talking about blending and pronunciation, I'm from New England, but I do not really have a true blue New England accent. I feel like I speak properly.
Oh, you can hear mine if I get mad.
I do hear sometimes, like, I'm like, why are they saying it like that? Like L and ill, well, will. And I think that sometimes it's because they have a Southern teacher, and then I'll be correcting it. And then I'm thinking they really think it's right because maybe their other teacher taught them wheel for will. And because wheel could almost be will or well in the Southern accent. So I think that's kind of something to keep in mind, is that correct them, but being very careful about it because they may have had a Southern accent teacher,
Well, I agree with that, but I think that as far as letter sounds go, I mean, I've had to learn to put my R's in, being an ESL teacher for many years. I had to learn how to slow down and learn.
I know, but not all the VIPKid teachers are trying to say them necessarily correctly.
Right. So what we say about that is they should really
to be honest, though.
Like Shannon Mabry says, you don't want to just be a good teacher. That might be your next step to work on. I'm sorry, letter sounds are like that might
I agree. I totally agree, because I had to change my way of talking because I actually went to college in the South, but we weren't even allowed to, they would correct the Southerners. Where we went, it was a Christian college and they were pretty prim and proper. You did it the right way. Right. And so the Northerners had to switch and the Southerners had to switch to the correct pronunciation. But in this type of situation, we have to be careful that the students aren't kind of penalized for that difference. But
so I say it right, say it correct, say at, make them repeat it or whatever that sound is, and then I put it in feedback. This is the correct way to say that phonics sound. I'm helping to correct this mistake, and the parents are going to note that. And
what about van? How do you say van? Van.
And
van. Because I had a little girl when I first started, and she was saying van. And I'm like, where is she getting this? That's not how I'm saying it. And then after the class, I was second guessing myself, because we went over this several times. It was almost like she gave it 2 syllables. And then it didn't dawn on me because I was new. And then I realized, oh, maybe she had a Southern teacher that said van.
Yeah. I think, sometimes if you teach students a lot, because this is my first year, I had a girl who would tell me it was a dog. It was a dog, and then I was like, oh man, okay, let me fix that. It's a dog. you know, and so you kind of, especially if you teach them more than once, you pick up on that because you start to hear your little nuances, your little accent showing up with their mimicking and their repetition.
So that could be something, if somebody's watching this, to be careful, make sure that you get the right, since we are teaching pronunciation, make sure you get it right.
Yes.
Here's what new teachers should watch. Watch Synthetic Phonics by Amanda Jacoby. It's a YouTube video and she's wonderful. That's how I learned. I to make sure that I'm doing it the right way. It is so important that our kids' foundation be strong and the sounds of the letters, because when they get to big words later on, for us to provide corrections for that V being wah, for when they're 10 or 12, it is too late. So level 2 is the time when you start with these synthetic phonics. Really teach yourself if you're a new teacher and do it the right way, because that's your service to your parents, and that's how they're going to rebook you. If you are teaching the proper letter sounds, pronunciation is one of the number one reasons why they're paying so much money for classes with us. It is about that connection with a direct native English speaker, and these synthetic phonics are what they need and what VIPKid teaches. So go watch that video. Amanda Jacoby, she is wonderful, and there's lots of great synthetic phonics, but that's what you need. So.
And I think a lot of VIPKid teachers just don't know. They just weren't aware that, you know.
Yeah, like I was like, why is she saying Bayan? And you know, because I was so new. It was one of my first students. And then later I just saw little comments in Facebook groups laughing about, oh, I taught a Southern student today, or a kid who had a Southern teacher or something. So I was thinking we should be saying it right, but sometimes we always think we're right? So I didn't want to be too forceful with it, but
right. Yeah, Marianne.
I was gonna say another, besides the vowels, I think, are also under stressed in a lot of the lessons. You don't really see them focus on that much. Now I know they can take a phonics class, but not every parent can afford the major course and phonics. So I practice those, especially with the students who are struggling, because there is a difference between, even with or without a Southern accent, some of them just say it incorrectly. And they are, when you say them, it's like they do sound pretty close. And that's why I like to put on the big screen too, because the kids like that, when you're big, I'm like,
yeah.
And then you go back, you're small. But anyway, they can see your mouth, and the parents appreciate that. I mean, like Amanda said, they are paying a lot of money for this class, and I want to do as much as I can to help them. So I really try to look at their mouth and how they're saying something, or, and really focus on that and try to keep it in my notes if they're a regular student, so we can practice that the next few classes until they get it.
Yeah.
Because that's what, and I put that in feedback. Because that's what they need to learn at that time.
Great. Kelly said she heard the writing advice from more than one teacher. She uses the last slide to have them write. She has a regular advanced level. I have a very advanced level 2 as a regular. So she has them write at the last slide too. She has them blend vowel sounds and write words from the lesson. Mary Lou, yes, do it to the side. It has more impact. Oh, she's talking about the Nanny Cam. Let's see. I'm gonna skip down and read the ones that are in all caps. So if I miss something, go ahead and put it at the end. Marianne, I love the paint the face idea. Me too. That was from Laura H. Let's see. I'm one of the few that actually uses reward slides as a reward. You can also use it as an extension. That's from Kelly. Hey, Amanda L, thanks for coming. Cindy, I love the backpack reward. It's so cute. Let's see. Heidi, I love the typing sentences on Nanny Cam. Yeah, that's a great idea. They all have trouble with architecture. Architecture's level 4, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's very hard.
Architecture.
Isn't there another word in that it's like 2 different words? Architecture.
Yes, sculptor, painter, paint. yeah, sculptor and sculpture. I'm like, ah.
Yeah, yeah.
That whole is really hard. Everything about that's difficult. The way it's designed to, sorry, this is not a level 4, but the way it's designed is that there's so many extra words in the reading that are not the vocabulary that we teach. So when I teach the vocabulary, then we go to the reading, it like rocks their world again. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
This
yeah.
lesson sucks. So, oh, sorry, but it's not my favorite.
That's awesome.
We'll edit that part out.
Yeah,
That
sorry.
I won't.
Melissa, don't tell VIP Kid.
I'm cool. Can I talk about questions real quick?
Sure.
There's a tip that I wanted to give, because many times in level 2, especially if they're not coming from level 1, they just joined in level 2, they have trouble, answering those questions right away. And so you want to use a puppet. But I found, just through trial and error, have the puppet ask the question. Right. So you're like, how are you? And you're like, I'm fine. And then you ask the kid, how are you? So the puppet is asking the question, not giving the answer. I get a bigger response. I get more success that way, because the puppet's always asking the question. And then of course I recommend some kind of big prop with a question mark. I saw a couple of you hold them up too. Yeah. Oh, look, this is Amanda Pandas. But like, you just,
oh, good.
Matching, we're matching.
But then that's also consistent. Like when you're teaching them the first time, this is the question, you give the answer. If you're showing that consistent prop, it can help them throughout the lesson as well.
That's great. Hey, Morgan's here. Hey, Morgan. She said, hey, ladies.
Melissa, I do that too. I'm if I don't have like a puppet, I use these little puppets, and I'll say, this is teacher, and then this is you, or whatever, this is student. And because sometimes, I use it for various reasons. If they're talking too much and I want them to listen, and because sometimes you're asking a question and they already start answering it. So just to get them to listen better. But it helps, it always makes them laugh, but it helps them to, see, I don't know, it just gives a different perspective instead of you just talking. But I always keep these by my desk. So if I don't have like a hand puppet, I can always grab these. So.
Yeah, especially where we're always the one talking. Sometimes having the puppets, or for us, it's like Charlie Brown, I'm tired of hearing you. But the puppet comes out and they're like, oh, hey. Teacher Morgan said, have you discussed American pronunciations versus British? I have a student, I'm gonna have a hard time reading this. I have a student who says, adult, vegetables. Make sure to correct British pronunciation and explain in feedback. Yeah, I agree with correcting that. I mean, especially if I ask them to read. Go ahead, yeah.
So sorry, I don't agree with that.
Okay.
A lot of the kids' training, their formal training, comes in British English. And one of the educational curriculum in China is based on British English. That's why we teach chips instead of French fries. So I had a parent ask me about and a, about how to pronounce the letter. And so the child was taught in school and then in VIPKid we teach a. Or we teach and then they were taught a. So I told them that whatever pronunciation they're using that's from their lessons and when I'm teaching, there's going to be other ways to say things, but we want to say it the proper way. So if they were saying like blah, 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 something crazy different, but as long as they've got the right pronunciation, we're not teaching British English. We're North American teachers, but it isn't wrong because a lot of their initial training comes from British English. So there's actually whole programs that they can take or outside classes that they take that are British English.
But don't you think that kind of goes back to they are paying the big money, like you were saying, for our North American accents when they could be choosing other British ones? And VIPKid are specifically not hiring from the UK.
I teach both. I teach both.
I would say that I will correct it. I'm going to give the North American pronunciation, but then in feedback, I'm going to say that's the British accent, and this is how we say it
Yes.
in North America. But yeah, I mean, like Amanda said, a lot of their in-person teachers over there in China, they're Australian, they're British, and so that is what they're learning. And those are also the people that are making some of their tests, some of their English assignments that they're bringing home. So you don't want them, like, you don't want to mess them up with that. You kind of want to let them know both are right.
Okay. Cindy?
I was going to say it might depend on the level of the student, how much they're speaking. Like if they're kind of at the beginning stages of learning VIPKid, you might be able to, you know, make that clear with the parent and then bring them into the North American accent way of saying it. But if they are like an upper level, like I had a student that was level 7, there was no way I was going to untrain the British accent. I just sat and enjoyed it. But when he would say certain things, I would say, I'm from North America and I believe you're paying, this is level 7, 1 hour. So I said, I did explain to him how we would say it, you know, but I didn't correct every single word or we would have never gotten through the lesson, you know, and at that point, he's going to have a British accent, you know, but so it might depend on the student, like what level they are, how much they're booking you. Like if they're booking you every single day, then you've got it, you know, and they're level 2, you've got it. But if they're booking you once a week and they're not getting a lot of classes, that might be touch and go. So, you know, you do kind of have to feel it out.
Right.
My opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a schwa sound?
Vegetable. I just tell them that it's vegetables without the E. Yeah. And that's how we say it.
We're lazy Americans.
Really?
We're lazy with our talk. No, I just get tripped up on this a lot because a lot of my students say vegetables. And it's like, what do you say? We say vegetables, but I mean, look at it. I mean, it's hard to teach things like this because it's hard to explain. Why don't you
it's
say
a silent E. No, I don't know.
Okay. I don't know either.
Amanda and Marianne are like, did you see both of their faces?
I had a teacher or a parent ask me one time about and a. When do you say when do you say a? So I looked it up, just wanted to verify, because you know how it's like, you know, but it's hard to explain. And she spoke English very well. So basically, we say most of the time. We very rarely say a, but there are some exceptions. So let's say, what do you have there? I have a banana. And we say, and then you must have a lot of bananas, right? No, I have a banana, that's all. So you're emphasizing that you only have one banana. So the point is, there are very few times we say a as long a when it's supposed to be short a, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But this is one exception when you want to point out, this is the only banana I have. I have a banana. Or can you go get me, you know, if you're asking for something specific or you're trying to stress. So there are certain times, and as far as like vegetables, because we do hear that a lot, is used in 4 syllables. And so in feedback, I try to put that we use 3 syllables, and I'll spell it out in, I don't know if that, they say if you use those brackets, it keeps it in the original way you write it. So I write vetch, VETCH, bulls. So it's phonetically spelled out, and I hope that helps them. But I go over it many times in class, because when you have level 4 students that are making these, you know, pronunciation errors, and if they've been taking, you see that they've taken 200 and something classes, and I'm like, nobody's ever corrected them, or it's never been stressed. And I hear some teachers, especially the newer teachers, are afraid to correct on everything. I felt that way too. I'm like, oh, they're making so many mistakes, but you can't focus on everything. But now I'm like, no, I'll let them know, because that's our job. And we think we're going to get yelled at or get a 4 apple or something, but the parents really appreciate it. And that's what we're getting paid for, is to make those corrections. So
Yeah, and Chinese people are pretty detailed. Like, I know that some people treat this like it's, you know, fun and games, but I think the Chinese people are pretty, like, we're not as careful, we're not as detail oriented as the Chinese people are.
Yeah.
And so I think they do appreciate it when you do look for those little details.
I like Robert said that he holds up the American flag. If the words are different, he holds up the American and the British flag and just shows the difference. Let's see. Yeah, that's true. Mary said Canadians use a lot of British English pronunciation, so there is a variance. It's true. I had another one in here, like the word breakfast. Oh, Melissa, you can add links now. Sorry, I added you as a moderator.
Oh, okay.
That's why you couldn't get the link in, but I think Amy Lou put it in for you.
She did. I saw.
Okay.
So yeah, I was just, the one I was posting was the one that we post in like coaching and mock classes, like for synthetic phonics. But Amanda does a great job too. I just wanted to make sure there was one in the chat.
oh,
Yeah.
Feel free to watch mine and tell me whether you think mine are correct. Yeah, Marianne.
I was going to say Kasie has a
Oh.
video on that too, and it's done very well.
It's okay. I went and practiced and sent it to all the teachers I could think of, like, check it out. So one mentioned my R. I have to keep going back and looking at my R. And let's see, I had this the other day with a level 3 and just wound up saying English can be strange and difficult language, but in the USA, we say it as breakfast. Yeah, the word breakfast.
I've said that too. With the higher levels, you can definitely say. In America, we say.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Good. Wow, I think that's it for the chat. You guys are great in here. So there's still 17. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Let's see. Can you think of something we missed? I'm looking at my notes now. One thing I saw on Facebook, and I don't know if you want to touch on this, but where is it? It's in my notes. There was a section in our certification center that talks about level 2 students being a little different, like the shy ones, the screamers. You know how I'm always asking, like, in the Meet the Teachers, what do you do with challenging students? And their answer in the level 2 chat, or the level 2 thing that I watched, was, you know, challenging is so different for every teacher. Like for me, I can take busy kids because I'm busy. So maybe that's why. But what do you do if you have one that is a challenge to your standards, what you're challenged with? Does that make sense? Amanda, not necessarily like trying to bring them back, because we've talked about distracted a lot, but maybe the screamers or something. Cindy.
I had to pull the I'm going to tell VIPKid card last week.
Oh no.
I haven't done it ever, but I'm like, this is really getting annoying. But usually I don't. Usually I will try singing, like even just if you're doing sentences and the kid is just not really going along with it, I will try singing the sentences and, you know, things like that will kind of pull them in, or like they mentioned, a puppet. Try to use some sort of a prop to get them interested, and think about bringing the student in more than just teaching the lesson. Because if you're going through and you're teaching the whole lesson and they're not listening, then you've kind of lost something. But on the other hand, there are times that I've had to just be like, here, we're just going to go with the lesson, and they can always watch the playback if the kid is really not with me. But that doesn't happen very often.
Anyone last minute things before? Yeah, Marianne?
So I worked with behavior kids for a long time, like in the public school, like the very challenging behavior students, okay? So learned a lot there about patience and whatnot. But I also learned they need to, at that point, I just don't think they're respecting you. And I think they need to learn respect, especially if they're going to continue in the class. So if I have a student that's totally not listening, I've had a few, and every student's different. I don't do the same thing with every student, but for some students, if they're not repeating, they're just flat out not participating, I will just wait. And I won't say anything. And I know some people like to all just Dora the lesson and they can watch the playback. I guess maybe I'm like, I just feel like, no, I want them to listen and participate. And maybe they're having a bad day. I don't know. But so I will just sit and wait. Or one thing that drives students crazy, if they're refusing to participate, I'll say it and then I put my ear and they don't say it. And then I'll say it again. And sometimes after 7 or 8 times, they finally say it. And I'm like, thank you. That's awesome. But and it probably drives them crazy. I know it's a couple students.
At 2 a.m. too, right? I'd be like, woo.
Because sometimes you can't go on until they, there's an order. And that usually works for me, but I say it in a calm way. And these are the kids that are like pressing the teachers being mean button. and they're just totally, so I've done that. And sometimes we've only gotten through 12 slides out of 25 minutes because then they finally start, but they finally do start to participate because I feel like they need to respect us and the kids that are, the ones that are doing this. And if they're picking their nose, I'm like, oh, no, thank you. Ugh. and I just don't allow it to continue because it is really disgusting. And who wants to do that? Yeah. And so I make
I like that.
That's why I make my faces because it is gross. And maybe they don't realize it or they think they're being funny. I just don't allow that behavior to continue in the class because I don't know. I feel like I deserve respect just like I want to give them respect. So
yeah,
that's
I am so tired of going in the bathroom this week. I'm not even kidding. I don't know what it is.
I saw that. Oh my word.
Did you see the one boy like, I'm just washing my hair. I'm like, well, can you turn off the camera? Like, he was older too. I'm like, turn off the camera.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but I was in the bathroom again this morning. I'm like, can we just, this is the third time this week. I'm done with bathrooms.
So what do you
That happened to me at the beginning, but not recently.
So what do you do, Kasie, when that happens?
I asked him to turn off his camera. I don't know. I am so worried about getting negative feedback from parents that I pretty much just deal with it. As long as I don't see anything, then I just keep teaching.
I had a student for a while that was doing that almost every class. I'm like, seriously, dude, I have you for 25 minutes. Yeah. He'll sit on the toilet for 20 minutes and you know what he's doing. So I finally, it was so gross. He's 10 years old.
Yeah.
And
that is gross. That is disgusting.
It is disgusting. And they position the iPad so you can't see anything.
I would totally not do that. Teach that class.
Even though you can't smell anything, it's just the idea.
Oh my word.
So I finally messaged.
I would call the fireman.
I did. I called the fireman and I left notes and feedback and it never happened again. And I think
I know. I did, Amanda.
Oh, wow.
I teach my students this sentence. Please wait, teacher. I need to go to the WC. They all say WC because again, there's that
I didn't know that.
Again.
Okay.
They tell you WC and they're telling you go to the bathroom.
The wash closet.
So yeah, I hold this up. Okay, please wait, teacher. And so I had a regular all through level 2, units 1, 2, and 3, every class go to the bathroom. And her mom was like telling me, what's going on? This is so strange. It was just every time she see me, gotta pee. So I taught her, please wait, teacher. I need to go to the WC. And I hold this up and then I wait and I'll just wait. And so it's okay. I said, go ahead, I don't mind. And then I wait. So I use stop sign for bad behavior too. I use this for the bathroom. I don't have that problem very much anymore, but I did when I first started. I've covered a camera with a sticky note before. So I had a girl who was in a chair that was spinning around with the iPad. She was standing on the iPad and jumping on a bed. And
oh my
sickness. really bad. So
Mhm.
I was going to throw up in class, like from watching the, so I put a sticky note over her camera, and I'm actually one of those of the view that unless it's a serious problem, I'm not calling the firemen. So I just dealt with the issue.
Yeah.
I told her stop, and I used my stop, and she didn't. I'm not there, so I can't physically do anything. I know her parents are in the background not doing anything to help. So I just taught through and did the best I could. I did a little Dora, and
Yeah.
just showed them kind of and did the lesson the best I could. And then when the 25 minutes were over, I gave really honest feedback, and I didn't ever see her again for another class. So you're going to find kids that are like that, that are few and far in between.
Yeah.
I've met my regulars who are my loves now, but when I
Mhm.
first started, I didn't have that. So cover the camera with the post-it note, do what you got to do, and
Yeah.
just kind of get through. It's only 25 minutes. So that's my theory.
My third YouTube video is called Teaching Upside Down because a little boy kept doing it. And I was like, and I'd only been in for like a month or two. I'm like, oh, this is awful. Yeah, Marianne.
And it's not just bathroom issues. It's I see so many posts on Facebook where like, oh, I taught the foot today, or I taught nobody. No, I will say, I can't see you. Where
Yeah.
are you? I can't see you. And I expect them to, yes, they should be sitting at their desk, or if they're like laying on the bed and constantly moving the iPad, I move my camera and I'm like,
Oh.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
Because it does make you nauseous, or it makes me nauseous. And I asked them, can you sit at the desk?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, okay. I guess I just feel like I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's good.
I have
That's good.
expectations, and I don't think
Yeah.
there's anything wrong with asking them. I think when you don't, and then you have, let's say you teach them so many more times, well, they never said anything the first time.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to set up your expectations for the classroom as well.
Mhm.
I don't know. And then if they don't like you, they'll go somewhere else. You're like, okay.
Yeah.
So Marianne, have you ever gotten a bad review for not finishing the slides? That's from Teacher Kelly.
Okay, so my very first few months with VIPKid, I had this student who was a very slow speaker, and I actually went to 32 minutes. And I skipped one slide, but it was redundant, and I got a 1 apple for unfinished slides.
Oh my word.
And his audio was bad. I mean, it was just the worst class ever. And back then I didn't know you could call it in or whatever. So so that is the only time, and I have, other than that, when I say I only finished 12 slides, I've never gotten a negative feedback.
Wow.
Which I'm surprised. The more I teach, the bolder I get. Because at first I wouldn't do anything to rock the boat.
Right.
And now I'm like, but I don't do it in a mean way though. You know, when I was working with these behavior kids, I got called all sorts of names, of course, and they would say I was mean. And I'm like, how am I mean? I'm not yelling at you. I'm not hitting you. I'm not, what am I doing this mean? And of course they can't give a reason. So I guess from working with those kids, I'm like, no, we deserve respect. And we give respect, but if they're not going to give it, I will help them learn in a nice way. And I've never been called any bad names. I mean, I see all these posts, I've never been called names.
Yeah.
I've never been flipped off. I've never, I don't know. I feel like you have to command respect. There's a book, what is it called? I can't think of the name, but The First Days of School.
Oh, by Wong?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh,
okay.
Henry Wong.
Harry Wong. It's on my shelf, I think, over there.
And I read that book, and one of the first things he says, you have to show your expectations the first week of school. The first day of school, some teachers are like, okay, let's ease into the school year. No, you had all summer off. It's time to learn. You're here at school. That's what we're going to do. And you make your expectations known, and the kids respect you when you do that. You're letting them know the boundaries. And so, I don't know. That's what I do.
And you have another question. What's that?
Sorry. I
Sorry.
use the stars. Like I'll give them, like if they're moving around a lot or they're not answering or they're playing a game on their phone or whatever, you know, they love their stars. They all love their stars. So I will just give them 5 stars and I'll put them, you know, on my magnet board or I'll pull them up on minicam or whatever. And then, you know, when they continue with that behavior, I'll be like, oh, you lost a star, you know?
Mhm.
And then like, and it might take 2 times, like they do it again. And I'm like, oh, there goes another star. We're down to 3 stars. And then it's kind of like, I really haven't said a lot, but a light bulb has gone off. Oh, if I
Mhm.
want to keep my stars, then I need, you know, I need to do what she's asking me to do. And then I'll give another star back. And, you know, we might play this game with 1 star back and forth, you know, but at the end of the class, they're going to get their 5 stars. But that's kind of what I do with those challenging students.
I was doing that the other day, but he never earned one to take it away. And I was like, oh man.
I just give them all. Like I would
Right.
just click them all and pull
Good
them
idea,
all
yeah.
up. And then they just see it. They see them
Mhm.
disappear. And that means a little more to them, I think.
Yeah, now I know, but I struggled that day. I was like, oh man. So Marianne, what if they are reading fast through the slides and are yelling for you to go to the next slide?
No, thank you. That's usually the first thing I say because I said it in a nice way. I hold up my hand and I am the teacher. You are the student, you know, and that's that just commanding respect and you're in charge. And are you talking about higher levels? Or
Maybe.
not necessarily?
Let's see. Yeah. Laura, are you talking about higher levels or like the lower levels?
Yeah, I've had that happen.
Yeah.
And
For the higher levels, I tell them like, we need to do it right or it's going to take us longer. You know.
Right. But I usually say no, thank you a lot. No, thank you. And I let them know who's in charge because I think that's why I like the littles because I find that they're kind of nicer than the older students because they want to do the right thing, you know.
Right.
And I have that's what I mean. Like I just last year I got certified in level 4, or just a few months ago. I'm new to that, and so level 4, I have students, you know, that are like looking at their phone, and I'll call them out. What are you doing? What are you looking at? Can I see? Can I see? And they're like, nothing. I'm like, well, I see your eyes are like this. Can I see, please? Can I see? And then they're done. You know, they'll put it away or whatever. Very rarely, but I call them out on it because I understand. I get they're in school all day and all that, but it's not my problem. You know, I mean, I've been paid to teach you. So, and anyway, sometimes I have students that are like that at the beginning of the class, and at the end of the class, they're like, I like you, teacher. Yeah. Because I think you, I don't know. And sometimes I make a connection and sometimes I don't. Yeah. But
kids like boundaries a lot of times. They might not admit it or not want them at first, but once they know how your classes run, I think they find it more.
Yeah, and they need them.
Yeah. Relaxing maybe. I know the bathroom is a cultural thing, Stephanie, but I still don't want to be in there with them. Oh, Danny's in the chat. She had forgotten to do feedback. So she's listening while she does feedback. Let's see. It's gross to us, but not to them. Yeah, I understand that.
But that's the thing is they need to know that it's gross to us because we're the American teacher. You know, we're teaching them our culture. We're not, that's the way I feel. Like, even if they sneeze, I'll say, bless you, that's sneezing. And we say, you know, or anything like that, I'll say it is a cultural thing. And honestly, when I first started, I had a little boy that he had gone to the bathroom and came back with nothing on. And of course, I'm a mom. He was just a little kid. It didn't really bother me. And we just kind of went on with the lesson. But afterwards, I'm like, that's recorded. So then I went ahead and I wrote to the company and they wrote me the nicest letter back. And they're like, I'm sorry this happened to you. Like, it wasn't really like it didn't affect me. I just wanted them to erase the playback. And, but then the next class, the dad was sitting like in a chair like this with the kid on his lap. So I had to do the class with the dad staring at me and the kid. And I knew it wasn't because of me. It was because the kid, to keep the kid in line. But I didn't mind, but it was a little rough seeing the dad like that, but I didn't feel bad about it at all. I just wanted the video to be erased, you know,
Right.
for the kids' sake. And I think the company is sensitive to that. You know,
Yeah.
they don't want us to have to teach through that kind of thing.
Right. And no one wants their kid on video like that either. So,
Yeah.
all right, I'm just going to read a couple more things and then we are going to say goodbye. If seen, Marianne scolds the students in her Moments video. Was it in a Moments one, or you're just saying it was?
I have, yeah, I always get my scolding moments. I have just a look I give up. Like I had one student who, I don't know, she keeps rebooking me and she's not doing what she's supposed to. And I have my mom face or teacher face, and
That's funny.
that's funny.
Let's see. He is in level, oh, this is back to Laura's question earlier. He is in level 3 and I have had him every night for a few weeks now. His parents are in the room. I have said, we do not talk like this. That's the one that's doing the yelling at her.
Wow.
So level 3. Anybody want to touch up? What would you do? I think is what she's asking. We know Marianne. Amanda, you have anything for that? Or Cindy or Melissa?
Whisper. Shh. Quiet. And then ask again. Just use that prop. And like maybe you're going to another extreme, they're yelling, and so you're asking for a whisper, but maybe what you're gonna get is that middle ground where they're not screaming at you. But especially, you know, if you are correcting them, you're asking them to say that sentence again, you're giving them that finger counting correction. They might yell it at you if they're getting frustrated because they're having to repeat the same thing over again. It's like, hello, you're in level 2. You're going to repeat the sentence 10 times in this lesson. And welcome to level 2. You know, so if they just get frustrated with that, you know, yelling back or that repetition, I just, you know, use those props and demonstrate. Many times they're not going to whisper, but they're going to lower their voice.
Yeah.
I do this also, like, you know, like, oh, my ears.
Yeah.
And I don't think they realize that they think you're so far away that maybe it doesn't bother them.
Well, she said this one's telling her to go, and yelling at her to go. I think that's what it said.
Okay. You can be sarcastic and be like, I don't understand.
Yeah, go to the next slide. Yeah.
Yeah, I've had some that say, give me a star. And I'll be like, you know, oh, you have to earn it. You know, you're going to, you know, I will next time, you know, when you do something good, or however, whatever the kid is able to understand. But
use a stop sign, maybe, Laura. Like if he's yelling, just show that visual. I think that's really big in level 2. Use that stop sign we're holding up and kind of show them, like,
or even just your hand like that.
Yeah.
I think kids are naughty and they're gonna play around.
Really? Are you serious?
There's different seasons with all different kinds of kids. So like for the scribbler who draws all over the slides, if you can't beat them, join them. Scribble all over the darn slides. Like sometimes you just got to like roll with it and let it go off your back. And if you just ignore the screamer or ignore the spinning in the chair girl, like whatever problem you're having, like hopefully like just leaving that behind, being a professional teacher, pressing forward with your standards, hopefully they'll come around. And that's my best advice.
I can ignore a screamer better than I can ignore being spun around. Oh.
Yeah. And sometimes they're testing you to see what you're going to do. Like, what is she going to do when I do this? Is this going to throw her off? Or is she going to, you know, do something weird or whatever? And if you don't react to it, then they kind of give up.
I have to say, in my defense, I don't do something every single time. Like what Amanda said, I do ignore it sometimes. I don't want to sound like I'm always like, but I do have, like, if they're drawing all over the screen, and sometimes I do join them, or I have like a magic wand, count to 3 and poof, oh no. And so I don't do that every single time. It's just if they're pushing the limits, you know, there's level 1 and then there's level 3. And if they're both, you know, if level 3 is acting like a 4-year-old, you know, I mean, but level 1, I never like, you know, say
I've said-
anything.
I've said it before, you know, it's a bag of tricks. So what
Yeah.
works might work with one, not the other. So I mean, I'm sure you're using your bag of tricks, Marianne.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah,
So-
Cindy.
I have a student that I am working with. He's booked me for almost every day, like 3 to 4 times a week. And I'm not really enjoying the class, but I'm trying to be consistent. And I told him, you know, you have to turn on your screen. I have to be able to see you. And we are going to participate. And I try to make it fun. You know, we're doing amusement park. I mean, come on. And so thankfully I have the Google Slides and all that, but I have put in feedback, you know, honest feedback, and I have seen an improvement. Like it's not like night and day, but there is an improvement each time.
Yeah.
So that's what if you do have a regular that you're seeing regularly, then that's what you want, just at least a little bit of an improvement every time, and then, you know, progress, and don't expect it to be like, you know, night and day from one lesson to the next.
Right. April wants to know if you've ever taken stars away. She's never done that, ever. Is there ever a time when it's appropriate to do that? I have.
I have. Yeah.
I have not.
I mean, I will take them away in the lesson, like I talked about earlier, but I do usually try to make sure they end up with 5 at the end of the lesson. Or even maybe they don't end up with 5 when they leave, but when I go back in to type feedback, I make sure they get 5, you know, but
man.
you're like, no, never.
Spinning in the chair, girl, she got 4. No way am I giving 5.
Yeah. My friend Johnson got 4 stars once, and that was at the beginning, and I never had trouble with him again. He asked me, do you always give 5 stars? And I said,
oh, wow.
I said, yes, except one time when somebody wasn't listening to me, and he goes, oh. And then he realized it was him. He was my only one time. And I had him yet. Oh,
wow.
He was the one in the bathroom last night.
Oh, wow. Oh, my goodness, Kasie. 3 stars.
No, I won't take stars away for pooping.
Wow. I don't know what I would do. I would have definitely called the fireman.
Well, if it happens again, you know, this was I've never had him in the bathroom before, you know, but like Marianne said, if this one happens, then yeah, I'll definitely make it. And he's too old, you know.
Yeah, that's the thing, the age. Somebody in the comments said that that's cultural, but it's not in America. Like,
right. All right. It's only 25 minutes. Testing your boundaries.
Yeah.
All right. Hey guys, I think. Are you saying? Oh, okay. I thought you had something else to say.
Oh no. Bye.
Please shout out your channel really quick if you'd like to, or say a quick goodbye. We have 13 people that hung with us in the chat. You guys are amazing. Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah. I have YouTube. I'm going to be on YouTube tomorrow in place of Kelly doing the report.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Good.
tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. and then I usually go Saturdays.
Great. Oh, Danny and I are doing a Q&A Wednesday after her live, I think. Let me know, Danny, if I'm right. All right, Amanda, Marianne, Melissa, anything? Saying goodbye.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody. Thank you.